Hello and welcome to Universal Love Law. Right now, I'm just going through the dark sided of each sign, and this is going to be the dark sided Virgo. First and foremost, I want to make that announcement that everyone does not present these more dark sided or jaded aspect of the signs. Some people actually are really showcasing a lot more of the positive aspects of Virgo. But when you have a lot of debilitations in your chart and you don't understand why you may be the way you are, sometimes it's very helpful to understand the dark side of a sign to see, oh, maybe I need to take a look into the aspects to this Virgo energy within my chart. So, and not just that, it's very important for one to learn that about themselves, or just to have some type of validation on this astrology world. Like, we're living in a world where astrology is so scary. It's true. Like the way that the energies play out. And so you may know a dark sided Virgo, and you guys could let me know in the comments if this is truth. And if you are a dark sided Virgo, please don't take what I'm saying personal as if I'm criticizing you. I know you guys deal with that definitely a lot, even the more positive ones. But this is for some people. This is for people that have mental and chemical imbalances within their mind, or very negative experiences in life that cause some type of trauma to where they utilize their negative side as a defense mechanism, or just in people that possess a sign and they're ignorant in a sense. They may display the more negative aspects based on where they grew up at, and what more darker sides based on like the lifestyle that they were born into. So it's so many different reasons and why a person could become jaded and tap into the darker aspect of their sign. So, and this also can attribute to people that have a sun, moon, rising, wherever that Virgo energy is very prominent. You want to see if this energy is playing out in a dark way. So let's jump into it. So the Virgo is mutable earth. So it's very practical, excuse me, in its approach to connecting with others. And so it's able to empathize and kind of become a part of any social group. In doing that, the negative Virgo becomes highly critical because they're ruled by Mercury. And so a dark sided Virgo energy will become highly critical of themselves and people around them as well. And they can also be very judgmental and micromanaging, as well as very attentive to the small things that you can just let go. It doesn't matter, right? They are very anal about it and very stern. These people that are more jaded can grow up to be can become adults that are very mean and rude and prejudiced as well. Okay, so let's jump into it. Sometimes the more jaded Virgo people, they have a tendency to notice the flaws in others, and they can't help it. It's just the way that their mind kind of functions. If they care about you, they'll let you know. But the more jaded ones, they'll watch you and they'll observe you and they'll learn how to utilize you, because they do service others. Sometimes the service that they may be doing could be very negative, and in the underworld, these people are masters when it comes to criminals. Like a Virgo criminal is going to be very into their criminalistic ways because they result to more routine like energy. So they like things to be very practical and consistent. So these people can be in a criminal life for years, and it can be their lifestyle, their kids. Everybody knows how to operate and how to function, and so they could be using their Virgo energy to be a negative service to the world, to where they're not helping humanity or they're not helping others evolve. They're more so debilitating humanity and like spreading poison into the world, or getting over on people, or manipulating people, or using people. And that's because they have a very fine attention to detail. The Virgo negative dark-sided criminal can be on top of themselves like white on rice, and they will not miss a beat because they have that gift of understanding how to probe and how to analyze. They're very analytical. So all of these things can become negative. So they can have very good health. They could be health nuts. They could judge people who are not healthy. They could be prejudiced in that, right? And have only people around them that are living in a very healthy lifestyle, meaning like the food they eat and the exercise and all of those things. They can be very critical of others, and it can be very hard to be around the Virgo negative dark-sided person because they won't let you be around them if you're not like them. And if you are like them, you begin to see how shady they can be and how mean they could be with their words. They're also wordsmiths because they're ruled by that Mercury energy, so they know how to really beat a person up with their words. And so that's something that dark-sided Virgos do very well, and they don't realize it. They may have a very negative aspect in when it comes to being perfectionist. So they can have these kind of like racing thoughts, and it can cause them to have some type of mental instability. So, like the Gemini that's ruled by Mercury, they can suffer from some mental instability. So can the Virgo energy. The debilitated Virgo, the dark-sided Virgo, can have racing thoughts to where their thoughts are literally overlapping each other, to where they're like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and they're people outside them don't realize that they're experiencing this, but it's something that they can experience just due to their over obsession to things, and they cannot help it. And this can cause a lot of anger within the Virgo person. They can feel very different. They can feel very misunderstood. They can feel like it's hard to wake up every day. They can suffer from depression, the dark-sided Virgo people, because they're waking up with their thoughts 24/7. And if they're very skillful, it can play out, the dark-sided ones, they can play out to harming and hurting others, or they can even be the type of people that will take care of a person and just take care of them for their money, for their to get on the wheel. Like they can be so heartless and so empathetic of others, lack empathetic for others, and they can literally just be service to other people just to gain things. They can be leeches too because they're very aware of how to manipulate people emotion, play on a person's emotion, because they don't deal with that. They deal with logic. So they can be criminals in that sense where they're milking people and they're getting what they want from people, and they can literally not care. Um they can have very high standards, and they can put down the people in their life, including their children. People that have Virgo parents, they may have had it very hard if their parents were dark-sided. They can have parents that are extremely judgmental and critical of everything that they do. They can't breathe. They can't just do nothing, and like it's always some type of expectation, or they're planning college and they're elementary, and it's like, some people, it's good to be prepared, but sometimes the Virgo can be overly hands on with their child to where they don't give the child space to breathe, and the child becomes very rebellious in that right. And the Virgo dark-sided person can be doing it for control reasons, and it's nothing good about that. It is nothing good about these ways. Like it should be the thing about life is we always have to have a balance in life. And so if you're overdoing something, it's not good, even if you justify it with why it is good, or I'm doing it because I know it's helpful and all that, because there's always going to be a con to it. Just like there could be pros to it, but there's always going to be a con to it as well. So it's important to have balance. Like, you don't want to be so micromanaging over your child's life to where you run them away from you. and they feel like they couldn't breathe, and you just was so controlling. And then the Virgo so manipulative, they will sit there and they will literally play on their child's commitment and loyalty, like, I'm your mother or I'm your father. Like you're not gonna do this with me. Like I created you, I made you, I brought you into this world. All of those things really play on a child's mind as if they are their object, or they have to listen to everything that they say. Now, children should listen to their parents. They should. I have children, so I'm a parent. I understand. We're talking about dark-sided Virgo, so this can be very intense for a child that has a dark-sided Virgo parent that is micromanaging everything they do from an early age. It's like they're not able to grow up and be a kid. It's like they're always pressured to be something that they might not even want to be. And so Virgo parents can play out good in some sense, but Virgo parents ultimately, it can be a very challenging parent, depending on their chart. But when they're dark sided, they can be controlling and they can push their kids away from them. Like the older they get, they're also very prone to sibling rivalry, and it can cause them to just see the flaws in the closest people to them. It starts in the home, where they become critical, where they become those manic, thinkers about everything that could be going wrong, and they worry a lot. So they may have one sibling, or they may have one person in their family that admired that about them, but a lot of people might dislike them. The dark-sided Virgo, a lot of people in the family are going to dislike them. And so they can lack emotion and empathy for the ones around them, and they can be very blunt, kind of like Sagittarius and Aries energy, but they could be blunt to the point where they're not realizing how hurtful they are. They're not realizing that that they're not right. Sometimes they can be thinking that they're so right and there's nothing wrong that they could be saying, but they could be so wrong. And they can also have a resting bitch face. Sorry, they can have that face that looks extremely just angry and mean, and the same way that the Capricorn energy can play out debilitated or a more dark side. They can have a very strong anger face, and even like the older they get, they could become very mean in the face. They can be very observant so that they can call out people's flaws and tell them what's wrong with them. And yeah, they also are very prone to spazzing out and having these very moody, angry moments to where everybody needs to get out of those dark-sided Virgos way. Now, a more healthier a more healthier Virgo, a more light-sided Virgo would be aware of when they're feeling like this, because all Virgos kind of go through this spazzing out energy, because their Mercury is a very fast-moving planet and it deals with the mind. So it's like it's always constantly moving and always being productive. It needs time to just calm itself. And when it doesn't get that, and the hustle and bustle of life sometimes prevent that, it makes them spaz out. Now, a more healthier Virgo will do it the right way, meaning they'll wait for everybody to be away from them. They'll retreat. They'll let people know, I need space, but a dark-sided Virgo, they will just start to pick with people, and they will literally just go off and talk mean and very hurtful and hasty to a person that they know they can do that to, like, or someone that they're very angry with, because they've been kind of prejudiced to them the whole time, or they've kind of had a lot of judgment pent up against that person, so they're the perfect person to take their anger out on. And so yeah, they also may, the more darker sided Virgo may not want people to help them with anything. It may be an insult to their character, like, you know, they want to get things done on their own and they don't need help and they can do it, and they want to present this independent aura, but they don't realize that they look like they're burning themselves into the ground, or they're burning themselves to the end, like to no end, like, and they don't realize that people can see that. People can see when they're under that pressure. Now, out of all the earth signs, well, I would say that Virgos, they're actually really good at moving faster paced than the Taurus energy. And even the Capricorn energy, to some sense, they move a little quicker, so they can do things, but the pressure shows. Under pressure, the Virgo, the dark side of Virgo, it shows, and they're very hard to deal with and be around when they're, you know, when things get really intense for them. And it can show also by them being extremely stubborn, not wanting people to help them, and being intense and uptight. They could be very hard to be around, like all the time. Yeah, that's more so like, yeah. Let's see. Oh, another thing about the dark sided Virgo is that they deal with the spazzing out energy, and they can be, they have high levels of frustration and anger. Um they make a person feel bad, and sometimes they could be very insulting to people, and they can have very dry sense of humor and throw shots. The dark sided Virgo can throw those shots, and they if they care about you, they may do it often, and you'll see, like, okay, you know, you'll may deal with it, like, I just know they love me, but you know they're really being sarcastic, but they're really being serious. Like, the dark side of Virgo, they're gonna tell you some things that's wrong with you, and they're not gonna care. Like, some that are more light sided, they won't be more caring and have empathy for you. They won't just automatically go for your gut, you know, the jugular. They're gonna be more like, okay, let me think before I speak. Dark sided, they won't think before they speak, and they want to hurt you, but they want to have this very down to earth, grounded energy when they do it, so that you feel them, and you're gonna feel them because they're very ruthless. They're ruthless when it comes to the way that they kind of tear a person down verbally. And so, yeah, overall, the dark sided Virgo, they're very anal, stern. They could be very rude, have that resting bitch face, be very critical of others and very critical of themselves, secretly very sensitive. And they can also be very stern and very controlling parents as well, even in relationships. They can be very controlling to the point where it's hard to kind of build a relationship with them, because they have this authoritative, like, energy that makes you want to kind of rebel away from them. And they also could be very prone to being very chatty and gossipy. They like to get the tea from people and know other people's information and spread gossip about people when they're very dark-sided as well. So I hope this video has helped you. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and peace.